Welcome back, everyone. TC Killa here, and today we're going to be showing part 2 of 4. If you want to include the skilled trainer that I've already shown, I'll post a video in the description if anyone wants to go back and see it. But today is the first of the 3 gameplays that I'll be posting about and showing the NCAA 14 demo. Now the game doesn't come out for still 2.5 weeks here, and the demo's only been out for a little more than 48 hours, but I still have tons of notes on it that I took, and many people are saying it's pretty good and one of the best games to date in the NCAA football series, but some people don't. But for the most part, it's good, and I think it's pretty good too. But before I go on to that, I wanted to discuss on what I'll be putting in the future videos. For this one, I'll just be talking about my impressions and what I think of the game. In the next video, I will be talking about something that is a surprise, but you should definitely come back and check it if you like the series, and I like the football games in general and play them every year online and all the features, so definitely come back and check that one out. And then the third one will just be talking about kind of what I will be doing for commentaries throughout this year, probably, with the dynasties and actual in-game stuff, maybe some tips, along with the actual real-life college football coverage, such as the Pac-12 stuff. At the end of the year, I started to do predictions. I want to do that throughout the year again, maybe get some of you guys to actually compete against with maybe like friendly bets or something like that, or just something fun to do, like interactive stuff. Anyway, let's get on to this one. In this first game, I have Oregon versus Texas A&M. I'm on the Oregon side. And for the most part, I just kept all the settings default, but I changed them in future games. I'll say them now, just in case I forget to say them in future videos. I'll try to say them at the beginning. But in the next game, I play the Ohio versus Michigan one, and well, I'll say this one. This one was Varsity, which is part of the default. But in the next one, in Ohio State versus Michigan, I don't turn too many sliders around, but I do play All-American, both defense and offense. The game speed, I switched to slow. The speed threshold is 30, and I use the zoom cam. So if you're looking for different camera, the different camera angles, this one is just going to be normal. The next one will be zoom cam, and then the third one will be coordinator cam, which is the Alabama versus Virginia Tech game. And in that one, I'm going to change the game speed to very slow, and turn the speed threshold down to 15, just so there's more differential between top players in speed and low players, such as linemen. Other than that, no sliders have been changed, no penalty, no QB, quarterback accuracy, or throwing power, or any of that other stuff. I've never really done that before, but I was looking forward to doing it from people like Operation Sports, just people on their forums doing sliders, so I might change it around just to see how they are. But for the most part, I'm just going to keep it the same. Anyway, got a lot to go through today. And a lot of these are just notes that I go through. I haven't really organized them or anything, so I might be going off topic to one, bouncing around and stuff like that. So I apologize for that. First, I noticed right off. Oh, and one more thing. I did not play NCAA 13 besides the demo, so I'm comparing this mostly to NCAA 12. So if there's a bad thing in that, forgive me as well. But the first thing is faster pace. Maybe it's just because, at least in this game, I noticed I didn't turn any sliders down, so like the game speed is on normal, which is pretty fast. Players flying around the field, accelerating up to their top speeds in incredible time. But yeah, there's that. As far as the Infinity Engine 2.0 goes, for the most part, it's really good. I really like it. It's a great change to the series and definitely needed. You kind of get a sense of momentum going on, and you can just, when you catch a sideline pass, you can't immediately go up. You kind of stumble out of bounds or something like that. Or when you get hit, you stumble and lose momentum instead of just going right along at your top speed already. Some things about it, though, I didn't like were, I seemed a lot of the time when I was playing, the ball carrier would like stiff arm, which was shown in like the preview videos that they put out, their playbooks. And it kind of happens too frequently. Like, I even saw, I think Anthony Thomas just run over a lineman, just put him on his back, just took him off his feet and kept on running. And, I mean, I'm sure it might happen every once in a while, but it's not going to happen 3 or 4 times a game like it did to me in 3-minute quarters, so I don't imagine how many times it would happen in a full-length game. So yeah. A few glitches though. I noticed different times I would run into my guy and I would act like I'm trying to prevent him from taking me down, like he was going to tackle me or something like that, and just different things, like I barely hit someone and I would stumble dramatically. Yeah, but anyway, for the most part, I think it's pretty good. Passing wise, I see a lot of improvement on the intermediate throws. Instead of like direct bullet passes that are sustained for 30 or 20-30 yards and intercepted by people, I see nice lob that are still pretty fast bullet throws, but they're actually accurate lobs that you can get over defenders without them deflecting it or intercepting it. Loading screens are dynamic. When you're loading the game, you can toggle through like key players. I hope they add a little bit more, because I think that might get a little boring after a while, but I mean, at least it's a little better than watching tips go across your screen, like if you want to throw the ball away, push this button or something like that you already should know when you're waiting 30 seconds to play the game. Presentation wise, it's a nice new feel, but I think they need to, hopefully, I've only seen one, primarily the country music one, and that would get old really fast, especially if you don't like that type of music. I did see one other one, but I think that was only once or twice out of like 8 games. So hopefully they have a few different ones that they can mix it up with, but it is nice to see kind of like a home tradition feel, and kind of like you're on TV, the college game day type animations that are on the screen in the presentation. The zoom cam, I guess I'll talk about it now. I like the zoom cam, kind of, but when you're on defense, you can't really see the pre-play unless you're like in a player lock position. But if you try to do it just regularly, kind of like players' names are in the way. So, I mean, there could be improvements on that. But it is like when you do a run, it's nice when you actually zoom in and you're like right there, you know when to cut and all that other stuff. Which the one cut system in this is pretty cool. I haven't been able to do it too much with it because I've been primarily doing passing. I like passing, and it's really fun in this one. So I haven't done too much experimentation with like the combo moves and the one-step stuff, but it seems really crisp and a really nice feature to add into the game. Also on the zoom cam, a negative effect when it zooms in, it kind of cuts off your vision. So like if you have a cornerback coming out of your right side try to tackle you, you don't know he's there, and you could actually cut into his line of path and end the play short. But I think it is a little more realistic. You can get a little closer down to the field, like in your pre-play. It's kind of like Road to Glory when you're a quarterback, at least in NCAA 12, when you're down to the field, down closer to the lineman, and more realistic instead of a more overview of the whole team. The option game is greatly improved in this one. There's tons of stuff. There's shovel passes, which I really, really love. You got little icons to help you read which players to watch when you're doing a read option or triple option and stuff like that. And a whole bunch of stuff. You can actually abort the play action, which we thought was going to happen. But it's a nice addition when you got 3 linebackers blitzing at you and you don't got time for that play action animation. One thing I did see that was pretty bad on the defense side was a lounge tackle. Not a lounge tackle, a lunge tackle. It kind of seemed, I don't know if I want to use this word, but overpowered. You would kind of see unrealistic effects like jumping in the air and staying there a little bit longer, or jumping a little farther than you would imagine. And so it could kind of account for Superman type tackles, if that gets pictured. If you play the demo, you might know what I mean, but I've only seen it once or twice, so hopefully it's not too big of a deal, or it gets cut down a little bit. Additionally, in the running game, you seem to break tackles at the right amount of times compared to unsuccessful breaking of tackles. Stiff arms work fine, and you can kind of shove off defenders every now and then, but not a too excessive amount, which is really important, at least to me, and probably a lot of players out there, that it's not you're not breaking tackles too much or too frequently that it's frustrating. Stumble recovery, I didn't really see it that much. It's really quick, at least for when I did see it. It's really quick, so if you don't push it right away, you pretty much fall, which I think is good because that could become overpowered as well, quote unquote overpowered. So I don't think it's not really common. It's a quick thing, you got to do it, and it's not annoying. It's not like you got a huge icon over your head telling you to push this. It's right where your stamina bar is, so it just takes the spot of that, and that is really a big important factor. And that's what I was really looking on in that, as well as the reading of the players when you're doing options. It's not too annoying. It's not too intrusive on your screen. The announcers were off a little bit, and that was one thing that stood out at times. The commentary still had so many recycled lines, which is okay when you're doing year-to-year games, but you'd like to see some new stuff. And sometimes they analyze different plays that I was running. One time I did the opponent did a screenplay, and my guy stayed with one of the guys that was running just straight out route, and they got a touchdown off of it, but they didn't actually use a screenplay option, receiver, and they had some stuff that, oh, that's what happens when you throw a screen or something, man to man, or I don't remember exactly, but yeah. They dropped the ball when caught. What does that mean? Oh, one time, yeah, when I caught the ball one time, got a first down, they said something about how he dropped the ball, and then I was in the fourth quarter one time, and they said something about momentum going into the next quarter. So, I mean, situational stuff is a little bit off, but hopefully that's just kinks that they still have to work out for the full demo, or the full version that comes out in a few weeks. I hope this isn't the final version. It seemed a little bit easier to return kicks pretty far. I constantly got 30 or 40 yards. I never broke one, but I mean, 30 and 40 yards are pretty on the higher side, I would say. So that's something to keep an eye on. And I got quite a few roughing the passer calls. I don't know what happened there, but it seemed like I would hit them right as they released the ball, and I would still get called for roughing the passer. That only happened twice, but I mean, still, it's not like I would blatantly go out and hit them just because. And I'm not talking about plays that I'm not blitzing and going to tackle them. It's the plays that I know it's me, and I know it was on me and stuff like that, if that makes sense. One thing in the passing game I really liked is kind of dealing with the Infinity Engine and the momentum. That if you threw off balance on the wrong foot, your throws would lack in power and accuracy, and I really like that. I don't know if it was in NCAA 13, but it kind of makes a more realistic feel, which all around in the game it is more realistic. So that was good to see. The crowd sound really stood out, especially in headphones. I turned it up really loud, so that might have had a little bit of a factor, but it kind of got annoying when I was playing as Oregon. When the crowd at Kyle Field is really on me. I mean, I was getting tired of it. So, I mean, that is a good thing, but maybe if you're, after playing a few games, maybe a season, it might get a little too much, but I mean, that could have attributed to me having the volume up so loud. So, I'm not going to look into that too much. I did turn up the crowd sound to 100. I think it was preset at 90, but I don't know if that's big of a change or not. In the receiving game, diving catches. I saw a few of those, not too prevalent, but when they happen, they're pretty awesome. Even if it's not your team getting it, I was still in awe in some of the catches that they made. Another thing with loading screens, at the end of the game, it's pretty much instant. Or at least I noticed I would end the game and then go do something like check a text, and it would be waiting for me. And that's usually uncommon. I would hear menu music after like 30 seconds of loading and stuff like that. So just faster loading, it's pretty nice, and it will help out. The menus seem faster in general, so that's a big thing, especially going into like a dynasty mode and recruiting and all that good stuff. The refs don't sound too great in my opinion. They seem not in balance with like the crowd and the stadium atmosphere, if that makes sense. The tendencies of the team seem to be pretty good. Johnny Manziel scrambled a lot, tried to play some zone. You'll see that in this game. Tried to play more zone to contain him, and I don't think he got too many scrambles. I think in this game he was like 7 carries for 14 yards, so not too good for him. We did good. But Oregon, I played as A&M a few days today actually, and Oregon went on 4th down on the 19-yard line, so that's kind of like them, but I don't know. Hopefully that happens more often, and they go on 4th down and stuff like that, like in real life. One of the big features I saw was the ball hawk. It was great. It looked really realistic, and instead of just defenders being overpowered and jumping up at random times, they got to actually do it, and there's consequences if they miss the ball. They're almost totally out of the play and can't recover. I know that happened to me a time or two, on both sides, as the defender and as the receiver. So I really like that. With an Infinity Engine, you can make people miss earlier, miss easier. That kind of just deals with the momentum, and that's kind of should have probably been said earlier, but like I said, my notes are in and out and off different topics. One thing I like is the banter between the players. You hear people saying like, "Nowhere, you're going nowhere," or like, "Let's make them cry all the way home," and "This is too easy," stuff like that. And like when you're running your plays, the defenders will say run or pass or screen or something like that. So that's really cool. I really like that feature, although it doesn't probably make too much practical sense in the real game. But it is a nice little aesthetic feature. The timeouts barely give you any time. I don't know if it's the same in NCAA 13, but I know in one game in previous years, or maybe it was Madden or something, but once you call timeout, you actually get like 60 seconds to call your play. I mean, once you picked your play, it went down to the game play, or the game clock, like 70 seconds. But this one, it gives you just some regular amount of time, so I don't really like that. I call timeout half the time because I want to be able to pick the right play, so it kind of sucks.
Michigan will take their last timeout.
One time dealing with timeouts as well. The other team called timeout, and my coach ran on the field. I mean, it's not a big deal, but it was just kind of a funny thing. So yeah, that's pretty much all the notes I have so far. If you guys want to tell me what you think, feel free. I might actually, since this is running way longer than I thought, almost double what I thought it was, I might actually put 2 of the videos together, maybe the Ohio versus Michigan one, for the zoom cam and the slow game speed. I'm not sure if I'll be able to smash them all into into one videos, because I'm guessing in NCAA 12, one of my videos for the offensive coordinator, 5-minute quarters, was about 7 minutes on average when I was doing the plays pretty short. So doing both offense and defense and a little bit shorter quarters, I think it's going to probably take around 9 or 10 minutes. So I might have to take out a few more plays, probably the unimportant plays, in both the games, just so you guys can see in both. Subscribe and check back for more. Like I said, I have one more game I want to play now that I'm doing 2 together, and I'll just talk about the secret thing I wanted to show you guys and share. And that's for people who like playing online and stuff, so if that intrigues you, check back. And then I'll just talk about the coordinator cam, since I pretty much already talked about the zoom cam in this one. I'll talk about the coordinator cam a little bit and what I'll be doing for actual gameplays and commentaries and analysis and stuff like that. And that actually works out pretty good, because the Alabama versus Virginia Tech game, I went to overtime with it, so that'll be a little bit longer of a game. So thanks for watching, and if you're still listening here in the 19th minute, thanks for sticking around. Hopefully this was some value to you, and hopefully your impressions are similar, and you'll be buying the game on the 9th of July when it comes out. Thanks for watching, guys.